for weeks or haven't been playing very much, getting like low 40 times, like that last race with Rivet and Melvin, both of them PBing, and both of them will probably PB again, in the next few days. I wouldn't be surprised. So it's just awesome to see.
By the way, it looks like we are counting down, and given the stream delay, we should actually be starting up this thing very, very, very soon. So that'll be exciting.
Nice.
We should probably talk a little bit about these runners. We've sort of been talking about general topics here.
That's right. Yeah, I kind of thought we still had 5 minutes, but here we go, getting right into it. So yeah,
yep, we're just jumping right in. So I'll start. This race is between bdbRufus on your left and Odiahn on your right. Rufus, as you mentioned, this is his second race of the day. He did his one earlier against Hetfield. So no offense to Odie, but I mean, Rufus will breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief facing not Hetfield. And Odie, I actually don't know whether this is his first in the tournament. I should have checked that. But his time currently is his PB is better than Rufus's by only by about a minute and a half. Odie sitting at 39.31 and Rufus at 41.03. Although those times might be incorrect, given how you mentioned you've got just a whole queue of runs waiting for you to verify.
Yeah, why isn't Devil verifying all these? Come on, Devil. Where are you at?
Blame Devil.
Blame him. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, actually, Odie, both of these guys have played one tournament match. Both of their tournament matches have been against Hetfield. Both of them got smashed one-sidedly by Hetfield, much like everybody gets smashed one-sidedly by Hetfield. So,
sort of a rite of passage, I think.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Apparently Odie did race Het earlier.
Yeah.
Thank you, based chat. It's sort of funny once you get to this point, since we've done these. This is the 6th, I think, Ori race in a row during this block. Plus, there was the 4 races in the hotfix little tournament earlier, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So sort of interesting from a commentary perspective, because we've already sort of gone through all the tricks. You get to treat it more like a sportscast at this point, to try to sort of do a play-by-play, give a little bit of backstory on all these very talented runners.
Yeah, it's a really interesting sort of take on commentary. Like, I hadn't thought about this until we started getting a few tournament matches in. And it's like, it's not just about explaining tricks all the time, because all the Ori runs I've presented in the past, it's been like, well, you're kind of looking at talking to a first-time audience, and I will try to, throughout the thing, explain maybe a thing here or there, but there's been a lot of Ori runs done, and we don't want to just, go through the rote thing. This is a ghost door. They are killing themselves to get through the door faster. But
I don't know. I think I'd listen to Robot Stick all day.
Now they are getting 4 health because it is safer and it only costs 8 seconds.
Who does actually go for 3 health? I mean, you went for 3 health against Het. Het goes for 3 health. Hydra, I don't actually know whether Hydra went for 3 health. I don't know off the top of my head here.
So the funny situation wound up occurring on the hotfix, where the 3rd race in the round robin didn't matter because Het and I were in the finals regardless.
Right.
So
right.
Both Hydra and I went 3 health in that round, because Hydra and I go for 3 health in PB attempts. Mm-hmm. So we're not that uncomfortable with it. But we both decided we're going to go for some crazy strats, and we both showed why you don't go for the crazy strats in races, because it went really badly.
By the way, both of these guys seem to be, they're not frame for frame, but they're pretty close. Both of them looks like they're approaching wall jump very quickly without any real issues. They both got the level up where they expected to, so a good start to both of them. Again, their PBs are very close. Odie with a slightly better PB, but from a race perspective, they are pretty much neck and neck.
Yeah, we just saw Rivet and Melvin. Like, Rivet's PB was considerably behind Melvin's. Now it's a lot closer. But mm-hmm. Yeah, Rivet was leading that entire race because of that death on the way to wall jump. But okay, that was interesting.
It fixed it. Let's just chalk that one up to the same thing that caused Het's crash earlier.
Yeah, that's the gods of Light Grenade trying to make their skill get used, I guess. But yeah, so like, these guys are really close to each other, and like that last race, we could see them be within the same screen for potentially a long time. Like, these guys are close in skill. If neither of them makes any major mistakes, they could just stay 10 seconds of each other for a really long time. We could see the smallest things flip the lead around. Like maybe one of them gets a curve cutscene skip, maybe one of them doesn't. Then maybe one of them, doesn't bait the Frankie down to charge flame. They catch up. So I'm looking forward to another exciting race.
Well, I think that one of the interesting things, which has been touched on with a variety of runners over a whole number of races here, is I'm always curious as to whether each runner is watching the other one. Because if, for example, you knew that the other person is way far behind, you might take it a little bit more safe. You might make more safety saves go out of your way to get additional health because you know that you have the time. On the other hand, especially if you've made mistakes of your own, you might feel panic, sort of assuming that the other person's way ahead of you. I think you mentioned that you tend to opt towards not watching your opponent when you race on the same way, but I don't know how Rufus and Odie feel about it.
Well, the thing is, part of the reason that I didn't is because when we did the streams for GDQ Hotfix, we weren't streaming Twitch, so it wasn't as easy to just load it up, and not have to worry about buffering and stuff like that. So I would consider, I guess, opening a Twitch stream, but then at the same time, like, do you want to know? Do you want to have your focus pulled away from just like doing as best as you can? Like, there's definitely some strategic value in saying, okay, I'm way ahead, I'm just gonna play super safe and got this. But if you're behind, I don't know. It's an interesting thought for sure. I'd like to actually interview some runners at some point to talk about maybe what they did in their races, and I think that's going to be an interesting opportunity as we get further into the tournament.
I agree. Rufus on the left took it from a projectile, but was able to Oh boy!
Oh!
I spoke too soon. He just hit the laser. Thankfully, not the most costly death in the universe because he does have that save back there, but not something that he wants to happen. Oh, wait a minute. Did Odie hit the same thing?
Odie died to the horizontal shooter as well. Almost at the same time that Rufus died. And then Odie ate a laser. A little bit of spaghetti coming out here, but, keeping it exciting here. Rufus has now made it through the death pit of Blackroot, and Odie is having a bad time with the death pit of Blackroot. This part, it might look relatively simple, but I don't want to even begin to count how many times I've had to reset runs just right here because of how brutal the cycle and the shot you get sometimes. And you can't slow down too much because you'll miss the platform cycle if you do. So, yeah, it's really spooky.
Well, there's another thing that I found, which is something that taking another death to the laser.
Yeah, ouch.
There's another aspect of this, which is that you're jumping on these platforms. I mean, he's having a hard time getting through it. This is a difficult section, partially because as you're jumping through these platforms on the bottom, it can sort of be hard to see. There's these flashes of light every time you hit these lanterns, and there's sort of foreground brambles and such that sort of block your view a little bit. So, of course, with experience, you get used to where the platforms are and whatnot, but it's sort of visually difficult to see the platform sometimes, on top of just the difficulty in its own right.
And the other thing about it, too, is when you're carrying this orb, you move at a slower speed than Ori normally does, and your ability to make distance or curve in the air with a jump, for example, to maybe dodge something is very, very limited. And you only move at this speed for just this section of the game. There's no other parts in this run where you'll be carrying an orb. There are other orbs in this game, but this is not all orbs. This is all skills, so we don't need the orbs.
Even if you need all the orbs, you usually don't actually need to carry them legitimately because this game is all kinds of broken, as Sig could tell you through Oreo.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So Rufus had a slightly better time than Odie. He also had his own little share of problems, but made it through to Dash, and then Odie will be getting over there very soon. Rufus on his way to do Frog Walk. Technically Froggy Walk, but I think we always just sort of call it Frog Walk. It varies. Everything's a frog in Ori.
Everything's a frog. The spiders are frogs. The walls are suggestions. The walls are also frogs. The frogs don't listen to the walls, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. If you didn't wrap your head around that, it's okay.
Don't worry
Nothing
about
in this game makes sense.
I didn't either.
You're the one who said it.
Oh, Rufus. Oh, man. That's actually...
Oh, boy.
That brings the gap back a lot. He got stomped on by that Frankie and didn't have enough health. So he's back to Dash. He's still got a lead because Odie did get munched on a lot harder by the death pit at the bottom of Blackroot, but that brings things a little bit closer already. So we're already seeing, unlike that last race, we're seeing more of a swing of things, kind of, even in the early game here. We're not seeing a constant pace, but it's like lead is wavering.
Right, and the thing I keep thinking about is, of course, I would love nothing more than to see these guys go and get a casual 31 or something, but when you see runners make mistakes on this, like if you were to watch, for instance, the hotfix races earlier, you didn't really see, you saw mistakes and deaths, but sort of in more specific areas. Like, I don't think anyone's died to the Frankie in that way that I've seen. You know what I mean? It's sort of like it kind of adds some credibility to our claims that this is actually a very hard speed game. And even though you might see a lot of these tricks done very cleanly and think that it might look sort of straightforward, it is anything but that.
Yeah, the act of Ori speedrunning is dying in enough ways that you finally have most of the ways you can die, and then maybe they don't happen one time.
That is shockingly accurate. And of course, like any race, you can't just reset over and over again if you want to get your perfect PB. You have to keep going despite mistakes that might be very, very discouraging depending on the mentality of these guys. Oh, what do you think might be the mentality of these two going into this race, if there's anything of particular note here?
I wish I had more interview. Wait, I do have more interview knowledge, don't I? Where is this survey?
I was glancing at the survey. It's interesting to see. We've mentioned several times over that the Ori community has grown, and there's a lot of new runners. And it's not that these two are new in the sense that nobody knows them or anything, but like I will, unfortunately admit to the fact that I don't know, Rufus and Odie's history with this game as much as some other people. I wish I could tell you more about it, but I guess we have the questionnaire for that reason.
Yeah, so Rufus says he wants to get more consistent, bring his time down, and still go for the big strats. And once I can sort this list a little bit better, I can tell you about what Odie wants to do with the game.
I think his precise phrasing was the big duck strats.
There you go. Duck this game, man.
Oh my goodness. Duck
All
this
right,
game
super.
indeed.
Rufus has got double jump. Here I'm reading the survey. I'm supposed to be clicking double jump on this thing. There we go. Odie's also got double jump. I was on time. Nailed it.
You were.
Wait, what happened? Wait, what just happened to Rufus? He died.
Oh my goodness.
He died way back to double jump.
I missed the exact death. I noticed that he accidentally hit these spikes. There's a sort of interesting thing. So there's the blind movement section, and then right when you get out of it, as you just saw Odie do right about then, you can sort of jump directly from the wall jump over the spikes or land on flat ground and then do the jump. It's a very minor distinction, but if you land on the ground, it takes like an extra half second because you have to vault up onto the land first, but it's safer. And whether or not you can make the jump over the spikes immediately is often dependent on it's often dependent on exactly how your movement was up the wall, like exactly how your wall jumps went, which determines your position on the wall.
Yeah, so that actually evened things up. They came to Grotto Skip near the same time. Rufus was a little ahead. Rufus got a third or fourth try Grotto Skip. Odie got it in the second try, so he made up a little bit there. And now, here we go. Like, Odie got considerably far behind the black route. Rufus had a nice clean black route, but then that death coming out of double jump was really painful and puts them on the same screen. So there you have it.
And Rufus actually just accidentally missed his little cutscene skip on this short Guma cutscene, so that's going to let Odie catch up a little bit as well.
Oh man,
they're going to be even closer.
So, yeah, we're getting back. Wow, that's incredible.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's something I'm happy about. I haven't seen anyone accidentally fall back into Moon Grotto there.
They're frame for frame now. Look at this.
This is insane.
It was like Rufus missed a dash glide, and that actually evened them up. And now Odie has the lead. He got through that Gumo cutscene a little bit quicker. But if that's gonna flop back and forth, we're gonna see the lead go one to the other.
I think
really
they might.
Here.
Right. I think they both might have taken damage on the sort of mine projectile, or not projectile. Sorry, the little slime that falls from the ceiling. So they have the safety save down, both of them, so it's not that big a deal. And I guess they have the level up here, so it especially doesn't matter. But remember that their UI is off, so that dialogue gets skipped instantaneously. But that has a downside that sometimes, shockingly enough, it's nice to know how much health you have.
Yes, it can be very spooky. In this case, they both managed to dodge the slime at that 100 experience orb that levels them up. But if you're at 1, you can die there, which is probably the main reason that they make that safety save. So now we're both going to grab the Grotto teleporter. Rufus actually pushing. They're both pushing the rock in. I thought their cycles were actually okay to pull it out, but I guess
might
maybe
just be
I'm just not comfortable with it. Yeah, it's
Right,
not a
right.
big deal. It's like 3 seconds difference. So yeah,
As with most things in Ori, you save a lot more time by just doing the strats you know consistently and hopefully not dying too much in the process than going for the tiny time saves. You need those after a point, of course, but especially in a race setting, it's better to just go with what you're familiar with, in my opinion.
because if they did pull that rock out and they got killed by the spinning spike arm thing, then they'd be talking about losing like 40 seconds or something like that. So just saying, okay, I'm just gonna push the thing in. I'm not sure about my cycle. Or maybe they just haven't practiced pulling it out because the inputs are a little weird. Nothing wrong with that at all. So
Does
same
anything-
argument, so here we go.
Does anything in this game have actual names? Because we call things like the big arm thing, the spiky area, the other thing. I guess half of everything in the game is a frog. Oh, Odie accidentally taking a death, and we see the camera glitch.
Oh, he's got the camera glitch, and he didn't exit to fix it. So he has to. I think it will fix if he places a save. Well, this is kind of weird. So he'll be able to see less and less. Okay, yeah, he saved to fix it. There we go.
Good job by him there. That must have been faster than exiting and coming back in.
Yeah, so nice backup there for taking a death against so. Anyways, you're talking about enemy names. The enemy names in this game, at first we just called things by what they looked like. So we called everything frog, even a spider. And
It's clearly a frog, yeah.
then at some point, when we were working on the task, Devil Squirrel was doing a lot of work with memory, Ori, and looking at things like that. So he made a sort of add-on that, among other things, could show you the names of enemies around you and take a look. And we got to meet some interesting enemies. So this mini boss is called a mortar worm.
Really?
There's a this is a mortar worm, also known as a sit shoot shark, which is kind of a community name for it, because some of the later mini bosses, the misty ones that pop out of the ground, are called jump shoot sharks. All one word, by the way.
I thought that was just a meme. I didn't realize that was actually based in the code of the game.
Well, it kind of is, but it is in the code. And yeah, there's some other amazing enemy names in this game. I like Kamikaze Soot, which is the Banelings. That's what they're called. I like Floating Laser Turret, which you can imagine what that is. But yeah, I think they didn't mean for anybody to ever see these.
Oh.
Did you just see what Rufus did in that key?
I have never seen that. Is that faster?
Is that faster?
Did Rufus
I
just...
never even thought about doing it like that.
I think Rufus wielding a pretty large duck over there. That was impressive.
I have to time it later.
We've mentioned this a bunch of times as well. This is what I love. You see these strats that, like, you're so sure that you know everything about this game and you know exactly how the run's going to go. And then you see things like that and you think, well, wait a minute, is there a better way here?
Yeah, I mean, there was a time back in the day when there would be basically one person streaming Ori at any given time, and every Ori runner who's on Twitch would come show up in their chat and be like, oh, do this, do that. But I mean, the community's grown so much, now it'll be like there's 4 people learning Ori and 3 people doing races, and you can't see everything. So I'm sure Rufus has done that strat before, but I just haven't had the privilege of seeing it. Or maybe this is like a tournament thing he's busting out, so I'm gonna have to ask him about that. And I'm gonna have to get out the timer on that, because that looked awesome.
Did Odie have a death that I missed?
I don't know, because I was going crazy about Rufus's strat, so it's a little bad of me, I guess.
Odie, when you watch this later, I apologize that we may have missed something.
Yeah.
But I suppose he's made it so far. Rufus with the successful key dupe, and he got his rekindle off to sort of make sure that those extra keystones are safely locked away in his inventory for use later. Odie's picked up Bash, and he's going to continue right on up to the same place. We'll see how the escape sequence goes for both of them.
Yeah, so typically the end of Ginso here, how well your core skip goes can make a bit of variance, but as we've seen in a few races, generally the pace that runners are at doesn't trade around here. But coming up after Ginso, we have a couple tricks in succession which can make a difference for how the standings of the race go. And the biggest one I'd say is Kuro Cutscene Skip, because everybody will go for it, and it saves 17 seconds if you get it, and you have to watch the bird be a little angry if you miss it. It's not easy to get by any means. Anybody can miss it, and do the patented Kuro cutscene skip. Not the most effective strategy time-wise, but you know, if you want to see a bird, it works pretty well.
Looks like Rufus having to go out of his way to get a little bit of extra experience. I did notice that coming into out of Grotto up towards the Ginso area, he missed the experience off a flower. I don't know whether that was just an oversight or something he intended to do. Looks like he's okay in this experience now, able to get a successful core skip, but that will give Odie another opportunity to catch up. He's not too far behind anymore. It's just this very short mini boss and then a core skip away. Anything could happen here, especially if Rufus happens to have any mistakes in the escape, which hopefully he will not.
Yeah, hopefully Odie's experience is good here. I admit that I haven't paid close enough attention to who's been getting exactly what experience, but he only picked up 2 orbs from the Moon Glass. He actually checks his experience there. It flashed by and I didn't even see the number, but he looked at the number, so I assumed it's fine. Oh, that was an unfortunate trash bash on that frog there.
Yeah, particular note, both of these guys are playing on controller. This is one of the rare races where you have controller v controller, because at this point, keyboard mouse is I don't know what I was doing there. KBM is objectively better if your goal is to go for, you know, super optimal strats, but as you mentioned, whether you play on controller, I mean, as Lucy has proven, you can play on controller and still get ridiculously good times.
Yes, indeed.
But you face particular risks with controller, one of those being a trash bash, where because of this bash glide trick, where you have to bash in some direction and then immediately go neutral on your input, sometimes your joystick sort of clicks back, and the game thinks that you aimed in some random direction for like a frame, and things just go all kinds of haywire, and it gives you a bad time.
It's definitely a bad time. So now we've got Rufus coming up to Stomp. We're seeing the fruits of doing the key-dupe earlier is that we don't have to go swimming. Maybe controller players would actually enjoy the swim because they swim in all directions. That's one thing that keyboard mouse, since we were talking about controllers and keyboards a bit earlier, keyboard's terrible at swimming because you can only swim in 8 directions. It's just really painful. But there's almost no swimming in this run. There's approximately 5 seconds of swimming coming up here, which diagonal works just fine.
I think what you're trying to say is controller master race, if I'm understanding you correctly.
I mean, maybe. I think the best PB that happened today was a controller Lucy, so you know. Yeah.
That is some logic. Rufus just picked up Stomp. He's going to be continuing on to Drainless, or Brainless as the newest version. This is a trick that, like many others, has actually gone through some evolutions over time. It used to be frame perfect, then it was a little better than frame perfect. Now it's not free. You can very much mess it up, but it is much more free than it was before, assuming that you get your stomp off and you aren't above ground rather than the water. Looks like he got it just fine. While Odie's about to go pick up Stomp, he's still not too far behind.
Yeah, they're really close. A fun thing about sort of the history of Drainless is that now that we have a whole bunch of new players in the community, and like the current version of Brainless, whatever you want to call it, it's been around since before the definitive edition of the game was released. We did that version of vanilla. So anybody who's learned, like who hasn't played early vanilla, has only done this one method of doing the skip, which kind of causes some problems if you miss it, because the backup requires you to do it in one of the old ways. But there's no reason to practice the old way because it was dumb. And
I mean, there's no arguing there. It really was dumb.
Yeah. Okay, so Rufus missed the Crow cutscene skip. We got the Crow cutscene skip.
But Odie, just maybe 10-20 seconds ago, actually had a death. He tried to dash towards Drainless and accidentally hit the Rhino. That's something that can happen. There's sort of an awkward distance where 2 dash doesn't quite get you to the Rhino, but 3 dashes tosses you right into his face. So
yes, it's scary. You have to press bash like at the same time as you dash, basically, to make it safe. If your bash is late, you'll just dash merrily into the Rhino's face, and you're very, very far away from having a non-pelt you need to survive that. So, yeah.
Rufus is opting to go for 4 energy rather than 5, and he's quick on his way to Charge Flame. Odie is on his way to his own Kuro cutscene skip. I'm going to not forget to click the little thing.
Nice.
I'm with you. It's like earlier where like we didn't introduce the runners because we were all talking about whatever it was that we were talking about back then. You get so caught up in the excitement of this game, you can't remember to click buttons.
Sure.
It's too many things to think about at once. Talking and clicking buttons. Who can do that?
Certainly not me. Alright, so Odie also getting the skip. So that's not saving 17 seconds there, but you know, the little bit of a lead forming here for Rufus now. I think, you know, maybe it's to be expected to some extent because Rufus's time is better, but you know, Sorrow is coming up, and Sorrow can really really do things to the standings of a race, as we've seen many times.
It most certainly can do things. That is an accurate statement. As an additional, no, you go ahead.
All right, I'll go ahead. I gotta say, like, talking about Rufus not taking 4 energy here, I think, well, I know because the current strat, the best strat for getting out of that 5th energy as fast as possible was found this morning. I would be interested to see, as this tournament wears on, if more people will start taking 5th energy. Practicing like getting in out of there quickly just so they can make saves and Sorrow and stuff like that, or if people will opt to stick more with like more optimized PB type route where you take 4 energy only and you don't have as many safety saves available.
I can tell you that I don't go for 5 energy, but I think I'm going to start, so you've already inspired at least one person here. Rufus looks like he is going for fast Stompless, and he did a damage boost to get there.
That damage boost is actually 20 frames faster than bashing. So if you have the health for it, you might as well do it because bashes pause the game. So you don't want the game to be paused while you're winding up the bash, because it's really, that part is in some sense an auto scroller because you're waiting for the shot to hit the rocks before you can move. You know, as it turns out, it's timed out pretty well, but the more the game time advances while you're waiting, the better.
These guys have been pretty close this whole race. Some mistakes by both of them, and Rufus is in the lead, but that's going to really help him solidify his lead. So we'll see how his Sorrow Bash goes as Odie comes up. I don't know, actually, if Odie's going to go for Fast Stomp. We'll find out very, very soon.
I don't think he is, but like I said, people can change their strats. Like, a lot of people have been improving a lot, and we'll see. He wiggled his bash around there as if he was like, maybe, but he's deciding not to go for it, so the safe play here, because you really don't want to miss it.
No, you do not. Another value safety save.
Did he rekindle that? Does he have the cell?
Yes, because he made it on the way down. He made it on the way down, so he does have it, yes. Oh my goodness, he has Feather. God, someone else take over. I'm not professional enough to do this. Rufus has successfully done a Sorrow Bash, but he had some issues, and since he messed up using the frog, he's actually going to go the long way around. This is the first, I think, in this tournament, so for anyone who maybe hasn't played this casually, this is actually not the intended route. You still do a tiny bit of a skip, but it's much closer to the intended route. He's going to go around and stomp the thing himself. It's going to take him around to the same frog juggle frog that you would ordinarily get to by abusing the first one to break the barrier from the underside.
Yeah, so this is the skip coming up here. We haven't seen this yet in the tournament. This is laser skip, and he gets it first try. That's not as easy as it looks. And now he's going to do another trick. Actually, okay, he's going to kill himself with a questionably angled bash. So we'll see what he opts to do here. The fast way through is to send that rock onto the right laser, and then you can bash through the narrow crack by bashing upwards. But because this is a, I guess, lesser known route, no, he's going to do it that way this time. So yeah, this is like an old route for Sorrow. It's not actually that much slower than going up the main path, like maybe 20 seconds at worst. But yeah, it takes less energy, so you know, when you have energy problems in Sorrow, this is one option. You can go around the side here, so he's now cleaning things up, getting some extra energy, so he should head up on to the top of Sorrow soon.
And I think it's very, very important to think about Rufus's mindset here, because he killed the frog. He knew that he killed the frog, and immediately his mind would pretty understandably go into panic mode. He accidentally killed it again. Odie looks like he's having some issues down there with Sorrow Bash, but Odie,
I don't think Rufus rekindled after getting the energy. I think he's at 1 energy here, so if he rocket jumps, he will not be able to save up top. He'll have to go down manually. But he might just opt to float instead. We'll see. Yeah, he's going to float. Okay.
And Odie with a very, very unfortunate spike encounter. He's going to be all the way back down to Sorrow Bash. But it looks like Rufus did not do the rocket jump, which means that he should be good on energy at the top, although you're right that he did not do his rekindle. Some very, very improvisational strats by him there, and I think you could sort of, Odie with another death, I think you could sort of see Rufus panicking a little bit because he's not used to going around that other way either. I mean, it's probably been a while since he's even done it that way. He probably hesitated on the rock as to whether to try to kind of force Ori through the crack there or go for different strats. There's a variety of things you can do there. None of which he was expecting to do coming in here.
Really impressed to see him pulling out that as a backup strat. It just shows you he has a lot of knowledge about the game, a lot of knowledge about Zoro to do that. Because, like, that is not even in the guide to do that as a backup. That's a very, very old way of doing Zoro that has not been done in months as like a main strat. But in this case, it worked out very, very well for him.
Absolutely. So Rufus was able to get up to the top with his sort of improv routine there, and now he's quick on his way to charge jump. He'll be getting there very, very shortly. Meanwhile, really solidifying his lead over Odie. Odie's going to need a bit of a miracle in order to catch up here. He's fallen pretty far behind with, as we've talked about before, one of the very, very difficult tricks and sections, especially given your energy management requirements in this section. You can't make very many safety saves most of the time. Certainly not without taking a bit of time loss.
Alright, I think Odie's in the clear now to proceed through Zoro. He got a nice clean rocket jump, got the roof, he's got the extra energy, he's got the save, so now he's going to be able to progress. That death is no big deal whatsoever because we have the save right there, so you can donate a couple Oris to that laser and it's all a-okay.
Rufus is going to be stomping his way down out of Sara Pass to go to Misty Woods. We'll get to see the meteor kick, which is one of my favorite individual tricks. It just looks so cool. There it is. Who came up with the name meteor kick? For that matter, who came up with the names of most of these tricks, because they are very, very colorful, all of these names.
I do not know who made the meteor kick stick. I know I can take credit for the strat, but I didn't name it. I called it like Fast Zoro Exit or something really lame like that, so more credit should go to whoever named it. Definitely.
We've got some pretty amusing people, I think, in this community to come up with fun names like that.
That's for sure. Meteor kick is definitely one of the more normal ones. I won't assault your ears with some of the other trick names that we have.
You mean like the
Oh my gosh.
Are we gonna go into it?
Well, it is the late night cast, I guess, isn't it?
All right. Well, you have more experience doing these tricks. I'll let you do the honors. Mostly because I don't want to mess it up.
All right. Well,
good luck.
You know, there's a little bit of history to it. We're not going to get into it, but the name for the fast exit from the 5th energy cell is the Sublimely Magnificent Sure You Can Talk Route Speed Burner Entrance Mark IV. So that's takes up longer to say the strat than it does to do it. There you have it. Meanwhile, Rufus has got climb. Odie's about to get charge jump. We'll see. We saw somebody, I don't remember who because there's a million races. Somebody got infinited by Misty earlier. It was Monkley, actually. Monkley had a struggle in Misty, so if Rufus has the same thing happen, Odie could still catch up, but we'll see. We'll see. I would not expect a catastrophic Misty to just strike out of nowhere, but it definitely could happen.
Misty is sort of along with careening that frog directly to his death, as frogs deserve in this game. Misty is a very interesting area because you can make more or fewer safety saves in a few different spots. Optimally, you make no safety saves and you just sort of risk hitting all these spikes and kind of just go for it. But if you wow, he is playing it.
Close. That was close, and he took a hit. Okay, he saved. It's okay.
Yeah. Maybe he knew that he had to make that safety save because of the damage coming down, but similar to way up in Sara Pass near the Sunstone, it can be very, very kind of heartbreaking to die coming out of it because you might get teleported all the way back to Sunstone, all the way back to charge jump, all the way back to climb, and just lose a lot of time, as opposed to a lot of the mistakes in this game where, while you always don't want unintended deaths, a lot of them don't cost you very much.
Yeah, there's more than a few clips floating around on Twitch of somebody dying to some spike in Misty and then some kind of cry of pain oozing out of them as they load back up at charge jump.
I can't think of anyone who's that's happened to.
Yeah, well, I can think of everybody.
Rufus has made it through the mini boss, and Odie is working his way towards Climb. They're both in the same area, although Misty Woods is a bit of a lengthy. Would you call it a dungeon?
Well, I guess technically in this game there's 3 dungeons, and Misty we go to only to get the key to a dungeon, the second dungeon, Forlorn Ruins, which is aptly named because we never just remains forlorn. But it's, I don't know, it's more of a field area, I guess you could say, similar to the Moon Grotto, I suppose. But you could call the Moon Grotto a dungeon, couldn't you?
Well,
It's
I mean,
a matter of perspective, really. Isn't
right,
it?
right. I mean, we call everything in this game a frog. We could sort of also call everything a dungeon if we wanted to.
So you're saying that Misty Woods is a frog? Ooh, Odie eating the spikes on the roof. I thought he was low enough to get under this. I can't believe that.
Me too, I was thinking the same thing. I was just waiting for him to see whether he was going to make a safety save up there or not, actually.
Yeah, those spikes like reached out. You know, Ruligan was talking earlier about how the Misty spikes wave at you. I don't think they were supposed to like grab you.
Yeah.
Because these ones were a little
maybe
too
it's maybe it's patch. Moon Studios is sort of infamous for another very valuable safety save. Moon Studios is sort of infamous for patching in tricks right when you can't get them, and then the second you get them, they were kind enough to patch it back in. So I bet that they just patched the hitboxes on those spikes right before Odie got there. That seems like the most likely explanation.
Yeah, having a game that updates as you're playing it all the time, like between runs, is just really weird. You know?
Yeah.
Whether or not you get the Kuro cutscene skip is it's just up to the whims of the developers. Alright, Rufus has finished things up on the skill collection front. He has Light Grenade. He's not going to use it, but he has it.
It's the principle of the thing. He's going to be making his way to Horus. So Rufus with a pretty sizable lead here since Odie's back in Misty Woods. He's going to have to exit here and then go all the way down into the Lost Grove. So he would need Rufus to make some pretty severe mistakes in order to catch this up. Rufus is going to be trying to get out of there and hopefully not get crushed by the boulder along the way.
Yeah, we'll see if he makes a safety save. He doesn't. He does. You can save there? I didn't know you could save like right where the boulder falls down. You learn something new every day. I thought he was just not going to make a save because I saw him jump in there. Cool.
We're learning all kinds of things. This is a very educational evening, I think.
Yeah, definitely. So Rufus just heading off to Horu now. Really the only thing he has left is Door Warp, which, as we've seen, can be a little bit of a troll. Unlikely for it to be enough of a troll to overturn this one now, so it's pretty safe to say that Rufus has got this one in the bag, but Odie's having a pretty good one too. It's up to the Misty mini-boss now to get the safety save down, so no catastrophic deaths. Basically able to happen for the rest of the game. None of the saves are going to be hurt anymore, so Odie should be progressing along in a smooth fashion, I think.
I think it's important to note, though, that even though Odie's behind, like, watching both of these streams, a lot of his movement from Rufus and Odie is very, very clean. A lot of very nice charge dashes, knowing where enemies are going to be placed, having some improv adaptations as needed. It's just you make a handful of mistakes in this game, and it, in some ways, can be unforgiving enough. Was that a first try door warp?
First try door warp. Nice.
Where's the door warp button? I want to press that one.
It does good for the soul to see a first try door warp every so often. Although when you get them yourself, you just dread because you know you're going to pay for it in future runs. You get a first try door warp and you're doomed to a ninth at some point.
The Ori gods are fickle. They change their moods depending on the day.
That is how it goes. Alright, so it does look like Rufus is on PB pace here. His current PB is on this gigantic leaderboard somewhere. Let me search for it.
4103.
4103.
Down earlier.
Nice, good job. So 4103. So yeah, he can, if he doesn't die to the escape, he can have this. So we'll see if he decides to take his PB and do the easy thing at the end, or if he goes for fish strats.
Looks like Odie, by the way, just got the Yoka cycle, I think.
Nice.
So that's very, very nice by him.
All right, fish strats. No fish strats. He's taking the PB. I can respect that decision.
Swag, yes, his strats are, PBs are even swaggier.
Yes, indeed. Alright, so that's gonna do it. Rufus has made it. All he has to do is hold right for a little bit. And this is a low 40. This is like a 40 something, 07, maybe 4011. I don't know exactly. I didn't see precisely when he faded out at the bottom of the screen, so we'll find out soon enough ourselves. Getting an extra dialogue line in there because I forgot to turn off his sign was telling the story. Please get up. We mashed through it pretty quickly, so.
There is a story in this game, something about a forest and saving it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Or destroying it. It looks like it's on fire.
Yeah.
I don't think we did a very good job of saving this forest.
I mean, we certainly killed a lot of its wildlife, probably did irreparable damage to the ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean, when the Frankies are gone, the slimes... You just get a slime infestation when the predators are...
What is worse, in your opinion, a frog or a slime?
Well, I think in this case it's not the question of what's individually worse, because that's the frog, right? But
yes,
if there's like 50 slimes, like, can you imagine that? You start your Ori game up, you're leaving from Sign or whatever, and there's that one slime you normally dodge, but then the floor is just full. Like, you just have to start shooting them. Like,
that's like something out of a nightmare.
Seriously.
Rufus is done, his timer is stopped, and that'll be a PB for him.
That's a PB, that's a 40-12, which is almost
nearly
a minute faster than his
nearly
PB.
a minute, that's very nice. Well done.
A tournament race. So how many PBs have there been today? Has there been a race without a PB? Like, honestly, at this point, we're seeing more actual PBs than not PBs. Now, how's Odie doing? Let's see.
Yeah, he's not on PB pace here, but we've had a lot of PBs in this tournament. It's very, very cool to see.
That's for sure.
Anyway, Odie's in there. He's going to be doing door warp, the infamous trick. I think he needs good luck to do it.
Everybody wish Odie some good luck on door warp if he hasn't got it already by the time you hear this, but going on what, third or fourth try here. Looks like since he didn't exit on that, he's opting to time it, mashing it. There's sort of different schools of thought on door warp. So when you see somebody load the file and then just stay inside Horu, it means they're trying to time it and they pressed too early. He gets it there, so now we're onto the final escape. And,
well done by him.
Yeah.
It's really an age-old debate. Like, I think I remember learning in like history class about Aristotle describing his thoughts on door warp versus maybe like Socrates.
Okay.
There are lots of books about it, so it's a long raging debate whether you should mash or try to time it.
So, to warp or not to warp?
That is exactly the question. Odie is going into the final escape sequence. We'll see if he decides to go for fish strats. I think he, again, don't know whether he was watching Rufus, so he doesn't know. Well, he may or may not know how Rufus is doing. He almost certainly knows that he's not on PB pace, so whether that will make him decide to be a little more daring or not, we will find out in just a few seconds.
Yes. I will note... Okay, yeah, he's skipping it. I will note that doing fish strats on controller is even more insane than doing it on keyboard, because to make fish strats actually save you that time, you must get the double bash on the first try. If you miss the double bash, then you are losing time with fish strats with the other method, and it's significantly harder to double bash on controller compared to keyboard mouse. So seeing controller runners, like even Lucy, the top controller time, not going for fish strats is not a surprise, because double bashing is just super hard and you lose a lot of time. Like you're like, okay, there goes 3 seconds as soon as you miss that double bash. So yeah, not surprising to see him just opting for the charge jumps up.
So Odie's timer is going to be stopping soon here as well. He just has to hold right. I tend to find it fun when you get to this point to, like, I don't know, hold right with your nose, or I think I had my cat do it once.
I remember that. Pixel.
I did, yeah. He did. Have to let him participate. But he'll be done here soon. I'm sure Odie will be wanting to improve that, but just sort of a series of unfortunate mistakes. It looked like he lost probably a very large chunk of his time to Sorrow Bash area, had a handful of deaths, and had to come out and do it several more times. So he'll be wanting to improve that, but still a perfectly respectable performance. Very good job to both of these guys.
Yep, getting a nice close tournament race out of the way, not having to play against Hetfield. There you go.
He's doing jumping strats. Nice.
Jumping with Maru is slower, but it looks hilarious, so I can respect somebody doing that every now and again. Alright, so that is our last race for tonight. So we'll be signing off soon, but make sure you don't miss some of the stuff coming up. Looks like...
let's run through what we have coming up.
Yeah, what do we have coming up? For Ori, there's 2 matches the evening. at
Tomorrow's
6.
races are at 6 and 7 p.m. Eastern time.
Yes. Also on this channel, looks like there's a whole bunch of other stuff where I was starting in the morning with some FF1. No, this is last week's schedule. How about this week's schedule? Super Meat Boy Relay race starting at
Oh boy.
1 Eastern. And then the Ocarina of Time Championship Series. And then MM3, and then Ori, and then some X2, and then more. Holy smokes. So basically, if you're looking for something to do from about, noon to noon Eastern time tomorrow, this is the place to be. And then looking later on into the week, there's probably going to be more stuff scheduled. But I see a bunch of Ori everywhere, including 5 matches on Monday. So yeah, there's going to be a whole bunch of cool stuff on Speed Gaming. So I'll hopefully see you guys back here tomorrow.
Right, if you're enjoying this tournament so far, not just in the next few days, but these group stages actually just started this week, I think, so we'll be doing these group stages for basically another 2-ish weeks after this, and then we'll be on to the elimination rounds. We've got all kinds of fun stuff coming up, but Sigma, that was fun commentating with you.
Yes, thank you for joining me, Grim. This was a pleasure.
My pleasure. I think we're probably safe to sign off here and not leave everyone hanging.
Alrighty.
Maybe not.
I think we're probably fine. We've talked enough.
Yeah, we have. All right, have a good night.
Good night, everybody. Take it easy.
Good night, everyone.